Welcome to NEXTGames' Intense Ambuscade series, September 2025 against Mamool. Now we last saw this one 2 years ago, and while it can take some time to properly defeat, normal solo wins are very possible, and parties can be of varying setups this month. Let's get into what's involved. First, key item acquisition. This month you need 1 Mamool kill for your first run of the day, and 3 experience-yielding Mamool kills if you're doing multiple runs in the same day. For these kills, I recommend you home point warp to Baflau Thickets, where you can find many Mamool nearby to get your key item off of, like I just did here. Now onto the run itself, which has a lot to it, so let me first discuss what each enemy can do, and then we can go into strategies, but the strategy you see me using now is what I recommend you should use on every difficulty and party setup this month. In fact, the list of enemies that you'll be taking on is the exact same on each difficulty this month, unlike most months. The first and main enemy we're going to talk about is the Boetto Autarch. He is a ninja. Now this guy has a very high DT effect that is enhanced by the amount of auras that are present. Now we will talk more about those as we go, but he takes very little damage at the start of the run. Now he can use all ninjutsu spells, including Utsesame San. Now if the person with hate gets out of range, he can draw you in, so be careful. Now the abilities that he can use are Dekusate, which is an AoE ability that is absorbed by 2 shadows, and that can do devastating damage if not blocked by them. Miasma is the next ability, and it's an AoE poison ability that can also plague and slow you. Now this can keep your trust busy for some time, or your white mage in a party setup. Now Tyrannic Blare is a conal ability that does a good amount of damage, and that can be absorbed by 5 shadows, and again, can do a good deal of damage if not blocked by at least a few. Now, Rushing Slash is a single target damage ability, but again, can do a good deal of damage if not blocked by shadows for whoever it's targeting. Now, due to all these abilities, it's strongly recommended that you have a tank with shadows, and that all of your damage dealers also have the ability to keep shadows up. Now the last ability that can be used is called Hemotoxin Wheel. Now this is used on anyone casting offensive magic against the boss and will normally instantly kill a trust, or if it's cast against a person, will charm them and kill that person during the duration of the charm period. Now in fact, all of the enemies in this battlefield have nasty retaliation attacks if any offensive magic is used against them. So you want to be sure to not use trust who casts offensive magic, and to not try and magic burst on the boss or enemy you're fighting yourself. Note that enfeebling magic is just fine. Now the trust you see me using here are the ones I find work best for this run. Arcelia is especially important, as Koromoru will always use offensive magic and get himself killed. Now since the Autarch is a ninja, they have access to Majingalkri, which will be used after every elemental wheel that is performed at the 75%, 50%, 25% and 10% health thresholds. Now on the plus side, these can be easily avoided by using light or dark skill chains and using critical hit damage to remove the aura. Now if the aura is gone, Mijin will not be used. Now my Kendetsubu or the Mumu gear sets were both more than enough, along with steady light or dark skill chains, to make it so the Majingalkri never happened during my runs, but on higher difficulties in parties, you will want to make sure that you plan for this and not just spam weapon skills, and instead plan to get off your light and dark skill chains appropriately. Now that we have talked about the main boss, let's talk about the other 4 Mamools that are present, as in order to do any meaningful damage to the Autarch, the auras of the other 4 must be removed. Now the Boetto Protector is a paladin and is a Mamool riding a wyvern. Now they will use Invincible shortly after taking 10 to 20% damage, and will use conal and AoE fire-based attacks. Now the Boetto Lancer is a dragoon who will summon 3 wyvern pets. Now these will normally despawn when the Lancer is killed, but not always, so be ready to kill them in case they don't. Next we have the Boetto Moringst, which is a monk and a bard who will use 100 Fist, and we also have the Boetto Erudite, who is a black mage and a white mage who is immune to silence and will use Mana Font. Now the nastiest spell the Erudite can use is Shock Spites, so make sure you bring someone who can dispel to get rid of them quickly. Now to remove the auras from these enemies, you need to do skill chains like on the boss, but with the limited hit points that each of these enemies have, it's not recommended you try this as you will rarely remove the aura before you kill them. Instead, it's recommended that you use critical hits to remove the aura. Now, as stated before, I wear my Kendut Saba or Mumu gear sets to accomplish this and have had no issues. So to put all this together, a run will look like what you have just seen me do with my ninja on the normal difficulty in front of you. If you're solo, you want to be sure to sub Black Mage so you can use Sleepka and Sleep 2. And if you're in a party setup, of course, as well, make sure you bring a sleeper of some kind. Now, the enemies sleep very easily. After opening with Sleep, start the fight against the Protector, who should be the only one that's still awake. Shortly after that, 3 Wyverns will spawn. Go ahead and ignore them for now, as they go for your back line and bounce around. Once you get a weapon skill or 2 in, the Protector is going to use Invincible. Once he does, quickly switch to the Lancer and get another quick weapon skill in. This should normally make them use their SP ability, which should remove the Wyverns from the battlefield. You now want to just do white damage with your weapons, doing critical hits until you see the Lancer's weapon break and the aura go away. Now, while doing this, you need to keep the Protector busy with his attention on you, and keep your eyes on the other 3 still sleeping enemies and make sure you throw a Sleepka or Sleep 2 out when necessary. Now, once you see the aura go down on the Lancer, drop them with a weapon skill or 2 and then switch back to the Protector and start getting white damage in on him until his aura goes down as well. Being sure to keep an eye on the sleeping enemies and re-sleeping them when needed. Now, when the Protector's aura goes down, go ahead and take them out and then switch to the Monk, being sure to be careful around his 100 Fist. Now again, white damage is what you want to use until the aura is down. After that's down, finish him off quickly, and this should leave just the Erudite. Now engage them, and if the spikes are up, let Arcelia take those spikes down before starting to melee, otherwise you may end up being stunned while you need to throw out a Sleepka. Now use this time to rebuff and get enfeebles on your enemies. Now, when taking on the Erudite, lots of spells can be used, so keep your wits about you and respond to each spell and keep that Autarch sleeping until it's time. Now, once the Erudite's aura drops, they should be able to be quickly taken out with just a weapon skill or 2, and then you have just the Autarch left. Now, with the Autarch, as you see us taking on right now, you don't need to use just white damage and can instead unleash your dark or light skill chains over and over again to get damage in as quickly as you can. The tank needs to be mindful to keep several shadows up at all times during this final phase of the fight, as not doing so can get them one-shotted quite easily. Now, often near the very end of the fight, under 5% health, the Autarch's aura will go back up as well as his defense. If this happens, just keep getting in your damage and you should be able to finish him off with a handful of more weapon skills. Now, for trust selection this month, I definitely recommend Arcelia, as previously mentioned, along with Joachim, to keep you haste capped. Seth thus is great this month to continually restore HP, MP, and TP to the party, and the healing combo of Yoran Oran and Kupipi, or Yoran Oran and Monborough, works very well. Now, the one thing you want to look out for is if your trust creep too close to the boss on the final part of the run. If they do this, pull the boss away, or they risk dying to the next Deku Sate. Now, for parties this month, use the same strategies and jobs with shadows and a sleeper to make your life easy. Now, while the runs may take a bit longer than some months, the amount of jobs that you can use to get the win should also be much more varied. Now, I hope you found this helpful. Enjoy the rest of this ninja battle example on the normal difficulty, followed by an example on the easy difficulty, using my ninja again, but this time using only Ambuscade gear and weapons and not allowing myself any gear swaps. Thanks much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next month.